So UFC Fight Night Shanghai, Johnny Walker versus Big Mingyang Zhang is taking place this weekend. And overall, this is a phenomenal fight night. Now, whenever I want a fight night to happen, this is the kind of quality I expect out of a fight night. We got people like Johnny Walker. We got a former champion in Aljamain Sterling on the card. We got a former title challenger in Brian Ortega. We got a lot of good names. We got the biggest prospects. We got Big Mingyang Zhang on the card, and we also got Loner Kavanagh and some other people like that. So Tony Has Died, will be going through every single fight on this card and giving my prediction and for all the fights. So let's get straight into this. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We just hit 10,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much for 10,000 subscribers. I love every single one of you that clicked the like button, click the subscribe button. It means so much to me. Let's get straight into this, starting with the first fight on the card, which is Dayar. This is good. I'm just telling you right now, there are a lot of names on this card that are hard to pronounce, so you're just going to have to fucking bear with me in this shit, all right? The first fight on the card is Dayar Nurgazhay versus Satybaldiev. I can't pronounce the names, but I'm going to be picking Satybaldiev. Now, I was pretty upset in this fight because it's a Kyrgyzstani guy versus a Kazakhstani guy. It was basically Mikti Berk from Wish versus Shavkat from Wish, and I had to choose one or the other. But I'm going to have to pick the Kyrgyzstani guy, Satybaldiev. He has a fight against Martin Budai, a decision. Martin Budai, he was a pretty good heavyweight, but both of these guys are light heavyweights, and he went up to heavyweight and fought Martin Budai. It was all right of a fight. I mean, losing to Budai is not a good look, even though Budai only has one loss, and it's to the GOAT Shamil the Blob Gaziev, right? Dayar, this guy, he was a super touted prospect coming into the UFC, and he just really showed bad fight IQ in his last fight because he just shot a double leg for some reason and got put into a submission and subbed with ease. He didn't look too impressive on the feet to me. So I'm going to be picking the Kyrgyzstani to win this fight, Satybaldiev. So, yeah, I got to win. The next fight on this card is Long Xiao versus Su Young Yu. Both of these guys are super well-rounded fighters, right? Su Young Yu is going to come into this fight trying to grapple, and I think he's going to be able to successfully get the grappling off in this fight. Long Xiao, he's good. He's coming off of a knockout win over, what's the guy's name? Quang Li. And I'm pretty sure, if I'm remembering correctly, did Quang Li fight at UFC Noche? I don't remember, but he's coming off of a knockout over Quang Li, and I really don't think that really means fuck all in this sport, to be completely honest. This guy has like 36 fights. He's lost 9 times. There's a clear game plan to beat him. I think he's been taken down a lot by some people on the regional scene, and now he's in the UFC. So, despite the experience gap, I think that Su Young Yu is going to get this one done with the wrestling. So, yeah, that's my prediction. Su Young Yu by decision. The next fight on the card is Yizha. We got Yizha right here versus Weston Wilson. I really don't think I need to explain my reasoning for picking Yizha to win this fight. If you have ever watched Weston Wilson fight, he's 36 years old. He's a karate fighter. And despite being a karate fighter, he gets fucking brutally knocked out in every single one of his fights. He's not good. He got signed super late into his career. On the other hand, we have Yizha, Yeezy season approach. We got Yizha over here. And yeah, he had a close fight with Gabriel Santos. I mean, he got whooped on the feet, and that's understandable. He got whooped on the feet by Gabriel Santos, but he really showed a lot of heart in that fight, and it showed the ability that he's not going to get finished. And, he's going to take this fight to the ground, and I think he's going to TKO Weston Wilson on the ground. So, or he could just spark him out cold because Weston Wilson is complete dog water. So, I'm going to be picking Yizha to win this fight by knockout. The next fight on the card is Michel Pereira versus Kyle Daukaus. And I'm going to say this, man. I was very tempted to pick Kyle Daukaus in this fight just because of Michel Pereira's last 2 performances against Fluffy and against Abus. I can't pick Kyle Daukaus, even though he's on... Okay, ever since Kyle Daukaus, I'm pretty sure he got knocked out by Eric Anders in his last UFC fight, and then he got cut from the sport. He is not good, okay? Now, he has gone on a 4-fight win streak since being on the regional scene, and he's beaten some people that are pretty decent. He beat a guy that was 5-1 in his last fight, a guy that's 8-4, a guy that's 7-7. You know, they're not the high... like for a 5-1 regional fighter, that's a good win to have on your resume, all right? But I will say this, bro. The people that Michel Pereira has been losing to, we're talking about Fluffy Hernandez fighting Khamzat Chimaev and being competitive against him now. So I'm not holding the Fluffy Hernandez loss too hardly. Now, the way that he got defeated, the way he got whooped by Abus, okay, like, the thing about Michel Pereira, this guy literally has over 40 fights, okay? This guy has like 45 fights in his whole career, and he has 1 round of cardio in him. And so that's what's concerning to me about this fucking fight, is that I think Michel Pereira should do what Michel Pereira does, which is go out there and bum, like what Michel Pereira is really good at, bum rushing people. Going out there, if you can survive with him for 2 minutes, he's kind of like he's kind of like Terrence McKinney in that sense. You know what I mean? Where he just kind of goes out there, sees if you can hang for 2 minutes, and if you can't, you're going to beat him. But I don't think Kyle Daukaus, like I can't pick, I'm off the Michel Pereira hype train where I'm like, okay, this guy is kind of overrated. He's mid AF. He's going to get fucking, like, anybody that's good will beat Michel Pereira if they can last longer than him for a round. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know, bro. Like, Kyle Daukaus was having some decent moments against Kevin Holland, bro. I know he headbutt knocked him out or whatever. It was a no contest. Kyle Daukaus was having some success against Kevin Holland. I'm not picking Kyle Daukaus because I've seen him lose time and time again by knockout in the first round, and that's what Michel Pereira is really good at doing. But I definitely can see Kyle Daukaus having a lot of success if this fight gets past the first round, but I don't think it will. I think Michel Pereira is really good at bum rushing people, and Kyle Daukaus is a bum. So I think that Michel Pereira should do a backflip on Kyle Daukaus' corpse. We'll see vintage Michel Pereira back in the octagon. The next fight on this card is Rong Zhu versus Austin Hubbard. Now, if you remember Rong Zhu's last fight, it was against, what is that guy's name? Cody Steele, where Cody Steele was a huge favorite in the fight, and he was an American wrestler. Rong Zhu goes out there, stuffs all the takedown, and I'm going to pick Rong Zhu to win this fight because of his last performance against Cody Steele, where he just poured on the volume, like crazy poured on the volume. It was one of the fights of the year. They did the Max Holloway point down at the end and were banging it out at the end. Pause. But they did the Max Holloway point down and they were swinging to the ropes at the end of the fight. So we know Rong Zhu's going in there the fucking ball. Like he's not afraid is something that I should say. He's not going to go out there and get bitched by Austin Hubbard, who has had some very questionable fights in his career where he lost to Alexander Hernandez, had a very close fight against him, and honestly, that's not aging too badly with Hernandez getting the win over Hooper. And he has a split decision to Markel Medeiros, who just, I don't think is that good. He lost to Kurt Hollabaugh as well, and I'm like, okay, how the fuck are you losing to Kurt Hollabaugh? He beat some guy named Michael Figlick. I know I watched this fight, but I don't remember it whatsoever. Austin Hubbard, he's super well-rounded, but I don't think he really excels in any area of MMA. So I'm going to be picking Rong Zhu to overwhelm him with volume. I think he'll win a decision against Hubbard. This will be a fun fight. And I think this card will be on at like 1 in the fucking morning for us Americans. And so I think this will make it worth it because I think this fight should be highly entertaining. All right. So I'm going to pick Rong Zhu to win this one by decision. The next fight on the card, we got Loner Kavanagh versus Charles Johnson. We got fucking Levi Ackerman coming into the octagon and getting his first real legitimate test. I'm going to be like, I don't know what Charles Johnson has done to Dana White to make him hate him so much, but they keep giving Charles Johnson killer's row, killer after killer after killer, and he's actually beaten some of these killers. Like he beat, what's his name? Joshua Van, who's fighting for the belt next, and he beat Azat Maxim, who's a really good win, who is also probably going to be ranked at some point. Charles Johnson is super underrated, and honestly, he should be a ranked fighter right now. I don't understand why they have, who's the Japanese guy that literally just fought Tim Elliott? Kai Asakura. The fact that Kai Asakura is ranked and Charles Johnson is not ranked is ridiculous. And something else to point out, Charles Johnson's last fight against Ramazan Timarov, very competitive as well. Timarov popped for steroids, and they didn't overturn the L. So that's something very interesting to think about. But on the other hand, we have fucking Loner Kavanagh, who I think is probably going to be one of the best fighters in the UFC coming forward. I think that this guy is 26 years old. He's showing super well-rounded skill. He has the win over Jose Ochoa, who we just saw Ochoa go to a super close decision against that other Kazakhstani guy. Can't remember his name right now, but Ochoa is super talented, and he will also be probably a great win that ages well. And he also just beat Felipe dos Santos, who was another super touted prospect at flyweight. I am going to be picking Loner Kavanagh to win this fight, but I will not be surprised if there is a fraud check, but I don't think so. I think that Loner Kavanagh is super well-rounded. I think that Charles Johnson kind of struggles against people that are well-rounded. I think if you have, like, if you're a super, super great at one aspect but kind of lack in another, or don't implement the other aspect of your MMA, I think Charles Johnson kind of finds that, like, he will use the other aspect that you're bad at and excel in it against you. But I think Kavanagh kind of fills in all the gaps that beat Johnson. So I'm going to be picking Loner Kavanagh to win this fight by decision, 29-28. The next fight on the card, we got Maheshate versus Gage Young. I am going to be picking Maheshate to win this fight. Now, anytime that there's a Gage Young fight, especially in his last fight, he fought Evan Elder. It was pretty close. He showed off a lot of skill in that fight, but he's 0-1 in the UFC. I'm pretty sure he might have been cut before previously. I can't remember. No, he had the fight against Salakid, Killian Salakid, on Dana White's Contender Series, and he lost that fight pretty brutal. Like, not brutally, but he got whooped by Salakid, right? And on the other side, we have Maheshate. People forget, man, Maheshate, he beat Steve Garcia, right? Steve Garcia has gone on to be a very great prospect in the fucking featherweight division, right? But this fight is at lightweight, and so I'm going to be picking Maheshate to win this fight. Now, I know the fight against Borjas was kind of like, why you're losing to Borjas, you're losing to Rafa Garcia. That's not a good look at all. I mean, Rafa Garcia is not actually that bad of a fighter, but losing to Borjas is crazy. So why am I picking him? I think that Gage Young struggles against high-level strikers, and Maheshate's got that karate style, and I think that he's going to go out there. I think he's going to just 29-28 outpoint him, bro, to be completely honest. I just think that he's got better range management than Gage Young. Gage Young did get hit a lot in the fight with Evan Elder. Maheshate, I think he has, like, especially the win over Steve Garcia where he knocked him out, I think that he has shown that he is a UFC level fighter, and I don't think Gage Young has shown that yet. Now, if Gage Young goes out there and wins, I'll be more inclined to pick him in future bouts, but right now, I just can't pick Gage Young. I'm going to be picking Maheshate to win this fight by decision. 29-28 again. The next fight on the card, we got the legend, the man, the myth, the legend, Kiefer Crosbie, taking on, I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce this. Okay, here we go. I'm going to attempt to pronounce this guy's name. Lake Nueraji? Nueraji, bro? I don't fucking know. I am going to be picking Lake Nueraji to knock out Kiefer Crosbie. Quite frankly, because I think Kiefer Crosbie is one of the worst UFC fighters on the roster right now. He's 0-2 in the UFC. Both of his losses are by submission. Before he even got into the UFC, he was 10-3. So he loses by submission every single time. And I know what you're thinking, this Tai Lake guy doesn't have submission ability. Well, that doesn't mean he can't knock out Kiefer Crosbie, which is probably what's going to happen, because Kiefer Crosbie gets hit in every single one of his fights as well. He's 35 years old. This is I'm pretty sure this guy is Conor McGregor's training dummy. I think that this is the guy that Conor McGregor uses to train for Michael Chandler. This is who Conor was using to simulate Khabib. We got fucking Kiefer Crosbie over here, right? He does train at SBG Ireland. But over on the other side, man, we got this guy in Tai Lake who is on a crazy tear right now, and he has finished at least his last 5 opponents. I'm not sure past that. I'm just looking at Tapology. You know how it shows you the last 5. He has finished his last 5 opponents in brutal fashion, every single one of them. And I think that the UFC kind of knows what they're doing with this matchup, and they're trying to set up a big star in the making. So I am going to pick Tai Lake Nueraji to knock out Kiefer Crosbie brutally in the first round. So yeah. The next fight on the card is Kevin Borjas versus Sumudaerji. Now, Sumudaerji, he's got some crafty performances, right? Like his last fight against Mitch Raposo, split decision against Mitch Raposo. I'm just kidding here. Look, I'm picking Kevin Borjas, all right? Kevin Borjas, I know this guy lost to Alessandro Costa, and I know he lost to the other guy, the guy that's fighting for the belt, Joshua Van, my GOAT, my glorious king, Joshua Van. But I think Kevin Borjas, he just beat Renato Rodriguez. Are you trying to tell me that Sumudaerji is better than Lazy Boy? 17-7, Sumudaerji, who lost to Matt Schnell by submission, lost to Tim Elliott by submission. This guy lost to Charles Johnson as well. I think that Kevin Borjas is pretty good. And just burp, excuse me. I think that Kevin Borjas is pretty good at the boxing. And I think that he'll be able to Sumudaerji is going to be going for takedowns in this fight, right? I don't think he's going to get him. And I think Kevin Borjas is just going to piece up Sumudaerji for 3 rounds, or maybe even I don't even know. He might knock him out. I don't know. I think Kevin Borjas has pretty good striking, and he has pretty good takedowns. And I think Sumudaerji is kind of shit, to be frank, all right? So, yeah. The next fight on the card is Sergey Pavlovich versus Waldo Cortez Acosta. Now, I have never seen a higher aura loss in the UFC than Sergey Pavlovich. We were talking about this guy like he was the white Francis Ngannou, who was on the longest finish streak in UFC history, 6 knockouts in a row, got one over Tuivasa, got one over Curtis Blades, pretty sure he knocked out Derek Lewis. He has a bunch of good wins, right? On the other hand, he did lose to Tom Aspinall. Now, it was short notice, and it's against fucking Tom Aspinall, who is the greatest heavyweight we've ever seen. So, you know what? I'm not going to hold that too hardly against him. But he did lose to Volkov by decision. And Volkov, he's also shown a career resurgence as of lately. So I'm not going to hold that one too much against him as well. And the legend goes that Volkov and Pavlovich used to be training buddies with each other. And that Pavlovich used to fuck up Volkov. So I don't know why I'm even going on this spiel. But the point that I'm trying to make is, in his last fight, Sergey Pavlovich, he kind of took a more safe approach, and he showed off his technicality against Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Free Jairzinho Rozenstruik. Every time I hear Jairzinho Rozenstruik, I start having PTSD flashbacks. But the fact that this fucking guy, Jairzinho Rozenstruik, has been cut from the UFC, and we have fucking Shamil Gaziev, who's ranked number 10, and we have fucking the Tafa brothers, who still even exist on the roster, and we had to cut Jairzinho Rozenstruik, is fucking ridiculous, okay? But in his last fight, he beat Jairzinho Rozenstruik by decision. It was a close fight. He clearly won, though. On the other hand, we have Waldo Cortez Acosta, who has just shown that he's barely winning every time. He beat Robelis de Spain, which was really good, right? Barely beat Andrei Arlovsky. Knocked out Lucas Brzeski, right? Beat Sergey Spivak. That fight could have gone either way as well. And then he has the fight with Ryan Spann, where he knocked out Ryan Spann, but I think that's just more on Ryan Spann being terrible. Here's what I'll say. I think that Waldo Cortez Acosta is basically going to be like the new Marcin Tybura or the new Sergey Spivak. Basically just sitting right outside like the top 5, like the 7 to 8 spot. Forever fucking fraud checking these random fat guys and no names. I think that's Waldo Cortez Acosta is going to be. And I don't think that's what Sergey Pavlovich is. I think Sergey Pavlovich has real talent, especially in the boxing. He has real power in his hands when he hits people. He has good thud. He has good, anti-grappling as well. He's good at stuffing takedowns. He's a fucking huge human being. I kind of look like him on the DL in real life. I'm basically Sergey Pavlovich, right? But I think that he should win this fight pretty clearly. I think he's going to win by decision. I think he's taking a more technical approach, and I think Waldo Cortez Acosta, despite being a little underrated on the feet, is not going to be as good as Sergey Pavlovich. So I am going to be picking Sergey Pavlovich to win this fight by decision. So yeah, that's my pick. The next fight on the card, we got Brian Ortega and Aljamain Sterling. Now this is going to be a fun one for sure, especially in the grappling area. And as much as I look into Brian Ortega's beautiful blue eyes, and I kind of want to have children with him, right? I can't pick him to defeat Aljamain Sterling because I think that Aljamain Sterling is one of the best fighters on the planet right now. And I think that Aljamain Sterling, despite being 36 years old, I think that his only real loss is to Sean O'Malley as of recently. Obviously, he lost to Movzar as well, right? But that fight could have gone either way. It was 3 rounds. If that fight was 5 rounds, I honestly think that Aljamain Sterling would have probably won it. And that is the thing about this fight is, for some reason, I thought that this fight was 5 rounds, which I feel like would benefit Ortega just because he would have more time to try to find the submission. But it's 3 rounds. And I really think that the fact that this fight is 3 rounds benefits Aljamain Sterling. And I just think that in the grappling department, especially the fight with Movzar showed it, where he was facing another grappler. It was pretty entertaining if you enjoy wrestling and grappling. I think that Aljamain Sterling just showed that he is one of the best fighters on the planet right now. In terms of his ability to wrestle, to know what position he's in, to find the back. And I think that Aljamain Sterling, who has been taken down before, I think that Aljo will be able to take Ortega down, and I don't think that Ortega is going to be able to submit Aljo because I think that the grappling of Aljamain Sterling is just going to be too much for Ortega. I think that, Ortega, he's not exactly a young buck either. Maybe if this was Aljo versus a different, like Diego Lopez, for example, who also has great grappling, I would probably pick Lopez because of the age difference maybe, but just like Ortega's 34, almost 35 years old. Aljo is 36, so it's not that much of an age difference, right? He has fought at the championship ability in a lighter weight class and won it. You could say what you will about Aljo's title run being against fluky or not winning any of them or whatever. He still showed that he is a championship level fighter, and Ortega has had shots at championship fighters before and has been dominated by him, frankly. You look at his fight with Volkanovski, besides the one moment where he almost got a guillotine, he got whooped. You look at the fight with Max Holloway, besides the fight, he didn't have any success in that fight. Max Holloway was literally teaching him how to fucking punch. So, he beat Yair Rodriguez. He got fucked up by Yair on the feet in that first round. And I know this isn't a fight that's on the feet. And I know Lopez fucked up Ortega on the feet as well. But he also was really trying to submit Ortega. And he was getting into a lot of dominant positions on the ground against Ortega. And I don't think that Lopez is a better grappler than Sterling. you know? So I think that Sterling has fought people like Brian Ortega before, and also he's fought people that are more dangerous than Brian Ortega as well. And another thing I want to talk about is we got fucking Merab, who is one of the best fighters in the world. He's going to be in Aljamain Sterling's corner. I just don't see this going well for Ortega. He's one of my favorite fighters, and I love Brian Ortega. But I just, I think his time is over, and I think it's time for him to pack it up, bro. I think it's time. I think Aljo is going to get it done by decision. I think he'll get Ortega into dominant positions. He'll just do what Aljo does. He's going to backpack him. Now, I will say, if Ortega can stuff the takedowns of Sterling and he keeps this fight on the feet, I think that there is going to be a lot of interesting moments. But I do also think that Aljo has underrated striking. It might be simplistic, but I still think that he has really good striking. So, yeah, man, I'm going to be picking Aljamain Sterling to win this fight. Ortega could obviously fluke the submission, but I don't think he's going to do it. So, yeah, I'm going to be picking Aljo to win. And for the main event of the evening, we got Big Mingyang Zhang versus Johnny Walker. Now, I've been wanting Johnny Walker to move up to heavyweight for a while now, because if we look at his recent fights, it hasn't been going too well for him, to be completely honest. You turn on a fucking ceiling fan in Johnny Walker's vicinity, and he's going to get knocked the fuck out, all right? In his last couple of fights, he got brutally knocked out by Volkan Oezdemir. Before that, he got brutally knocked out by Magomed Ankalaev. Before that, he got dropped by Ankalaev and illegally kneed, and it was a no contest, right? Now, one thing that really concerns me about this recent Johnny Walker shenanigans is the fact that he didn't knock out Anthony Smith is really, really, really concerning to me. Like, the fact that you're not finishing Smith on the feet is concerning. Now, he did dominate that fight, but how do you not finish the guy that curls into a ball, right? Beat Paul Craig, but even past that, he got knocked out by Jamal Hill. He got knocked out by, he got dropped by Ryan Spann twice in their fight. I know he ended up getting the submission, I'm pretty sure, but I don't think at the ripe age of 30, like, I think Johnny Walker needs to move to heavyweight where he's going to have a speed advantage, So, on the other hand, we got Big Mingyang Zhang, the fucking mountain tiger himself, who is undefeated in his last, I'm pretty sure he's on like a 14, 15 fight win streak, right? And he just crucified Anthony Smith in his last fight. Completely eviscerated Anthony Smith. Made him do the classic curl into a ball. Now, I know it was his fucking it was his fucking retirement fight. You get Anthony Smith in his retirement fight, you're gonna get a W, all right? So yeah, the people that Mingyang Zhang has beaten, Brandon Rivera, that's not that impressive. Ozzy Diaz, not that impressive. Smith is not that impressive. Now, he did beat Tuco Tacos. Shout out to my boy Tuco Tacos, right? But I don't think Tuco Tacos is that good either. And so the question is, this is the real test for Mingyang Zhang. Because if he's just a complete fraud, Johnny Walker will beat him, but I don't think he is. I think that anybody that possesses even an ounce of power can beat Johnny Walker. I mean, the amount of damage that Johnny Walker has taken over the last fucking 6 fights. Like, Johnny Walker has a highlight reel, right? Johnny Walker has a highlight tape like nobody else, but it's not in a good way. This guy just gets knocked out in the most goofy fashion ever, every single time. I want to know what his brother is doing to be so successful. Maybe he can take a note from his brother and maybe he can try to get this to the ground, but I don't think you can't just bank on him maybe shooting that fucking takedown. He's Johnny Walker. Okay. So Johnny Walker has been brutally knocked out in almost all of his fights as of recently. I've been saying he needs to move to heavyweight and he just won't. I think not just me. I think a lot of people have been saying, please just move to heavyweight. He still won't. He won't do it, bro. I close my eyes and I think, like, what is Johnny Walker even really good at? And I really can't. I can't think of anything. Like, imagine Johnny Walker, like, he leg kicked Anthony Smith, fair enough. But I just can't see Johnny Walker being successful in a mixed martial arts fight. I don't, like, it sounds fucked up. But I just close my eyes, and when I close my eyes, I see Johnny Walker. I'm imagining Johnny Walker in my head. Do this with me. Close your eyes. Imagine Johnny Walker in your head. And what do you see? You see him getting fucking flatline knocked out, all right? And I think that this is, like, somebody who has finished his last 14 opponents all by knockout. I mean, this guy is a fucking... This Mingyang Zhang is a fucking future title challenger, I believe. And I just don't... like, what is Johnny... Like, legitimately, if people that are picking Johnny Walker, what is Johnny... Like, what is Mingyang Zhang going to do to Johnny Walker? I mean, what is Johnny Walker going to do? This is a slaughtering. This is a fucking welcome to the big show, Mingyang Zhang. This is free W for the fucking aura farmer, Mingyang Zhang. Yeah, those are my picks for the fights. I just don't understand this matchmaking. I feel like it's kind of... I feel like Walter needs to talk to Johnny and try to get him to move up. Because I think I think that he's technically better than a lot of these heavyweights. And I think he could actually just kind of fuck up some of these heavyweights because he's so much faster than them. And he's honestly a lot more better technically than a lot of these heavyweights. So I really think Johnny Walker needs to be a heavyweight. And I just think, like, this is going to be... Like, how many times do we have to see Johnny Walker get executed on live television for him to realize to move to heavyweight? To go fight fucking blah. Like, I don't know, man. I feel like Johnny Walker must have, like, pissed off Dana in some way. He's a funny guy. He used to be one of my favorites, but Mingyang Zhang is going to get this one done by knockout. So here are my picks. I'm picking Mingyang Zhang to brutally heem Johnny Walker in the first round. I'm picking Sterling. I'm picking Pavlovich. I'm picking Borjas. I'm picking Nueraji. I'm picking Hyasar. I'm picking Kavanagh. I'm picking Rangju. I'm picking Pereira. I'm picking Yizha. I'm picking you, and I'm picking Satybaldiev. And those are my picks for the card, guys. If you like the video, like, subscribe, do all that YouTube shit. Thank you guys so much for watching my prediction videos, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.